Oh, I forgot the music again.
Like I'm dancing to no music.
I am not a good DJ.
It's all good. Hi, I'm back.
Woo! Jonathan's back, everybody.
It was so much fun.
Oh, so much fun. Welcome, everybody. This is another awesome opportunity where we gather together and have a good old-fashioned rant where we come up with radically affirmative new thoughts. And we couldn't do this without you. So let us know what you are thinking and what you would like a rant about today in the comments. Of course, if you're watching on Facebook, we love those loves and those likes and those shares. Clicking on all those buttons. We so appreciate you.
Love that.
You're watching on YouTube.
You know what they're doing on Facebook?
What are they doing on Facebook?
So they're only allowing live videos that we've done to be accessible for 30 days and then they delete them off your profile.
Yes. Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine. I mean, I don't really go back and watch old ones.
Yeah,
but
I'm a YouTuber.
I have videos from 8 years ago.
Yeah,
that were live videos, and that's the only place they exist. And
well, there's a way to download. Yeah.
What am I going to do with them? That was the kind of what I came to. I'm like, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
that's really kind of how I went through it. How dare they take it away from me? But I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't care. YouTube has all of it anyway. So, hey, Sherry. Hello.
Hi, Sherry.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Good to be with you. So let us know you're watching. We want to see those comments. If you are watching on YouTube, thumbs up to you. Thanks for finding us over there. And let's get this algorithm going. We want a radically affirmative new world. Right?
Yes.
New world with radically affirmative new thoughts in it. Yes. So let's share those. So, Dr. Jonathan Zenz, how was your trip?
My trip was amazing. So good. Oh my gosh, we had such a lovely time.
Yes.
We drove up. We stayed in Wilson, which is like an hour's drive south of the Grand Canyon. And we stayed in this Airbnb that was really cute. But you walk in the front door, and on the wall like when you walk in the front door, you're in the living room, right? And there's a wall, and that wall is completely covered like with a photograph. And it is a still shot of Thelma and Louise in the convertible, like as they like made the decision. I was going to say spoiler alert for Thelma and Louise, but if you don't know, because that movie's 30 years old now,
at least.
Yeah, they drive over the edge of the Grand Canyon at the end of the film. But there's that image as you walk in.
Nice.
So, but I brought pictures to share. I've got show and tell.
Wonderful.
So I'm going to pull up this one first. This was so just to show you, it was cold. There was still snow on the ground there, and this was I forget the name of this. Maher's Point, I think, is what this is called. And we went out and that was our first kind of like approach to the canyon. I hadn't been to the canyon since I was a kid, and Dane and his family, my husband and his family, had never been to the canyon, so it was fun to go. There's a picture of Dane and me with our dog Marcus.
Hello, Marcus.
Yes, and you can see we are bundled up because it was cold.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a nice view, of the canyon, and you can see the Colorado River in that shot.
Yeah, way down there.
Right down in there. Yeah. So it was awesome. We had a wonderful time. So
yeah. Magnificent. This planet is magnificent.
Right?
Yeah. Like the layers of time that are written into those crevices. It's
literally written in stone.
Yep. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Hey, Terry. Fabulous Friday, friends. Hello. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So we didn't come up with a topic of ranting. So we might have to pull some cards or some to get us warmed up. Let's see.
Well, let's see here.
Yeah, everybody's watching on Facebook. Oh, a couple people from YouTube.
There is a so I'm teaching prayer class right now.
Yeah.
I'm co-facilitating that class with Reverend Rhonda Tretzvin, who is the senior minister at Center for Spiritual Living, Tucson. And, they share our campus, and we're co-facilitating a prayer class based on this extraordinarily awesome book. Is it here? Where's my book? Oh, here it is. I'm like, I know it's here somewhere. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. This book, phenomenal. If you would like to work on mastering affirmative prayer, this is such a good book.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching this book, Discover Your Divinity, in the prayer class right now. And one of the exercises that we went through on Wednesday night was an exercise that I call Get a New God. Acknowledge that, many of us were brought up with this notion of God as a being outside the self, that it was out there and was judging us. We go down this road a lot, talking about, how our old God used to be. But then talking about, how do we really embody and understand the nature of the divine way that feels, I'm going to use this word, visceral, because we're not separate from it. So it is literally a visceral part of our beingness. The wholeness of us is this thing. But sometimes even that feels a little obtuse. And so we go through this process of essentially a centering exercise, a brief meditation exercise where I invite everybody to relax and imagine themselves in a place that is safe and secure, whatever that place is for you, to know that you are fully supported, you are fully secure, you're fully in this place where there is nothing that is counter to your well-being. And then I say, now describe the feelings that come up for you around that. And so then as people are saying these words of feeling and everything, we write them on the board, and we filled up the whole board with all of these things like tenderness and light and easefulness. And, they come up with all of these adjectives. And then I basically say, here's your language for how to describe yourself as God. That you are tenderness, you are ease, you are gratefulness, you are magnificence, you are all of these things. Because sometimes it can be a hard thing to go to the step of, if we are acknowledging our divinity, some people will say, and I do this, I say, I am God, so are you. Everything is God. We are all God. Some people have a problem with that still. And so let's talk about the attributes of God. And let us define ourselves rooted in those attributes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun. I'm doing a workshop this coming Sunday called How to Pray So the Universe Listens, Cultivating a Divine Prayer Practice. And actually, I've created an exercise that sounds just like that.
Yeah.
for a section of it, of the intro part. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also based on to discover your divinity and some of my own stuff. Yeah.
Right. And I purposefully do the centering exercise to say, I don't say, imagine God, right? I say, imagine that you're in a place where you're fully supported, safe and secure. Because what could be more fully supportive, safe and securing than your own divinity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Love it.
Anyway, there's a reason I brought that up. Oh, I know why. Because we teach principle, and the first principle really is God is all there is. And so, in some ways, like if we get back to basics, even in radically affirmative new thought, what are the implications of that frame of mind? God is all there is.
Yeah.
What are the implications of that? Especially in a world where it feels like, it feels challenging. I don't know if you're feeling like, I don't personally allow myself to get lost in the sense of challenge, because as I said last Sunday, I'm talking a lot today. As I said last Sunday in my message, all problems are perceptions. We perceive problems.
Yes.
And we cannot perceive problems rooted in as the reflection of circumstances, unless we can also perceive that there must be some solution to that, because there's always a polar idea around that idea. So all problems are perceptions. And if we stop thinking about the experiences or the circumstances as problems, what are we left with? If it's perception, what are we left with? If we don't allow ourselves to perceive things as problems anymore.
Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Truth. It's the isness, right? Like it is. And sometimes it's harder to even go further than that. Like it just is. Like, how do we describe this? How do we define it? And that's what got us into the problem in the first place. We tried to define it.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore we separate ourselves from it. So we are the isness of that is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you let go of absolutely everything, you find truth. And I've grown so much in the last 18 months, 2 years, in my own personhood, and how like discovering and defining my boundaries and where the lines are, because I didn't know there were lines or that I needed boundaries. Right. And so that's where the overgiving and the overdoing comes from. I had no boundaries. And so in the last 18 months, it's like I've discovered all of these boundaries, and every conversation that creates an idea of separation. Now it's just like, that's not mine. That's not the is of this situation. The is of this situation is that everybody is doing the best that we can. That's me. That's you. That's everyone. That's the isness. Everyone is doing the best that they can, whether or not it looks like it's good, right? Because then we're labeling again, and then we got to do the process all over again.
Yeah.
Right where we are is exactly where we need to be. And if we needed to be somewhere else, we'd be somewhere else. If we needed to be somebody else, we'd be somebody else. This is who we are. This is who we're meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else. And when we, discover the moreness, then we are only discovering and removing the layers of who we already are. We're not healing anything. I was talking earlier, like nothing is broken. So there's this beautiful presence that we can find in that safe space that is within ourselves. I love that exercise. Find the safety and security, and you find the divine place within you.
Yeah.
Whew.
The way you constructed that idea too, it makes me also think of this, that, we are all required. Like our beingness is required in the expression of the whole. Otherwise we would not be here.
Yes.
And to honor that, honor that we are a requirement for God to express in its fullness.
Yeah. How precious a thing are we?
So precious.
So precious. This life, this little container that we get to carry around for a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for you out there?
Out there, I know we're talking about how things like Facebook shifts and moves the algorithms and all of that. I have noticed when I schedule wake up, say thank you, there is less people watching. If I just go live at the time, everybody's there.
Interesting.
So I'm just saying that because we do schedule the RANT often, and I have noticed that if it's scheduled, it's like that's the thing that gets the reach, and then us going live. I don't know if that's true.
Well, I think
it's just that when I have noticed it.
I think we should play with that because I'm happy to not schedule it. I mean, it's an arbitrary thing. Oh yeah, hey, we're going live at 10:30.
Yeah.
Oh, Arizona time.
Yeah.
And for another week
until daylight savings time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, which makes me think, because I was just thinking about like when daylight savings time ends, it will be 9:30 in Arizona. So just a heads up, not next week, but the week after, everyone. If you're in Arizona, the RANT will be at 9:30 a.m. at that point. But also it's going to be at 9:30 a.m. on April 11th. And that's a very special day, April 11th.
Why?
Because
why is that so special?
Because Reverend Steph St. Amand will be here in Tucson, and we are going to do the RANT live
Mm-hmm.
from Unity of Tucson's sanctuary. I'm at Unity of Tucson. This is my office at Unity, but we're going to do it live from the sanctuary with a live audience.
Yes.
So if you are in Southern Arizona and you would like to join us for the rant live in person, and it'll be online too. So if you're not in Southern Arizona, it's not like you're missing out, because you'll get to see what's happening in the room.
Yes.
You get to be in the room where it happens. A little Hamilton.
Yeah. You'll be where the magic is made.
Yes. So I'm so excited because Steph is going to be here and we're going to get to do this thing that we do.
So exciting.
Live and in person.
Live and in person. In the flesh.
When was the last time we were physically in the same room?
Were you in the conference in Denver in 2020?
No.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah, it might have been Irvine in 2017.
Irvine. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I've been in a room with your wife more recently than I've been in a room with you.
Yes.
In person.
Yes. Yeah. And as soon as I re-choose a color of paint and repaint this office, because this is way too blue for me, I have that photo framed. It'll be in my office.
Yeah. Hey, Peg. Yes. April 11th. Yes. Yes. Audrey, we get to see St. Steph live. How good can it get? I don't know if it can get better than that.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm so excited to have my bestie.
I love this new mantra that was it? I think it might have even been a talk that you gave, telling the story about we'll see. The gentleman, I don't know if I know the story well enough to retell it yet, but the farmer whose son goes to
he loses his horse and the townsfolk all say, "Oh, how horrible it is," and his response is, "We'll see."
We'll see.
And then the tax collector comes along and is taxing based on the number of livestock that they have, and and the townspeople come and say, "Well, how fortunate that your horse ran away. We'll see." Like everything is we'll see.
Yeah. So since I've heard that talk, I have been doing, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's so easy. Like I don't have to have a judgment or a thought or a label of this moment right now. I can just, we'll see how that goes. It's life-changing, you guys. That's we'll see is a life-changing phrase.
It really is.
Just like tain't so. That's also a life-changing phrase.
And then you make me think about it ain't necessarily so, that song. So,
yes. That's funny that you just started singing because Peg just said, I thought Hamilton was going to sing Hamilton. Of course you're going to sing something on the rant.
I always sing. There's that meme that goes around once in a while that says people who say that, they don't understand musicals because who just randomly breaks out into song. I'm like, you don't live with me clearly, because I break out into song all the time.
I have written 3 songs this morning alone in my head. Like it's musical cue day 365.
Yeah. I always have a song in my head and I'm always singing. Actually, there was a funny thing that happened. I don't think Marcus, my golden retriever, likes when I sing, which is a little bit disappointing because if I sing, he'll start barking at me. And maybe he's just trying to sing along.
Maybe he's trying to sing. Yeah.
I'm going to accept that. He's just trying to sing along. He's not objecting to my singing.
Because the corgi I live with, Chewie, Chewbacca is his full name for you Star Wars fans. Yeah, he goes by Chewie. If I'm playing guitar and singing, he'll like, woo, woo. Yeah. So I think he just wants to, I think he's just singing along. He's not telling me to shut it.
So Peg, to be totally honest, I would not attempt to sing Hamilton because although I've listened to it a lot over the many years that it's been out, I don't feel quite as comfortable with that score, just like breaking into song. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
So where are we? We're talking about everything other than
Peg, Audrey, Terry. What do you guys want us to rant about? What's on your mind this week? What's going on? Oh, we're gonna get the dice out.
Yeah, gonna get the dice out. Woo! Devoted, colorful, abundant, confident, and energetic. Those are the intentions that came up on the roll of the dice.
Love them. Devoted.
Devoted, colorful, abundant, confident, energetic. Oh, you know what? I have this other camera I can show you. Right.
Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that. A multi-layered thing happening here.
I'm not doing this very well. Actually, I think it's backwards. There we
go. Oh, I can't even look at that. I get motion sick like crazy.
Sorry. So here we go. Right? Devoted, colorful, abundant, confident, energetic. And if you're wondering, like, it's this set of what's called intention dice that come. This is actually made by Unity, and you can order it online. But
fun.
So those are the intentions that we can kind of look at today. Devoted, colorful, abundant, confident, and energetic. What comes up for you around those intentions?
Oh my God, that's like walking a good life right there.
Yeah.
Right. That's like those, colorful is your uniqueness, how you show up in the world. You are a unique and unrepeatable expression of divinity. And so you are all color and the fullness of that, right? Devoted is like being devoted to who you are, your authentic nature. Your authentic nature is the divine nature. And so being devoted to your personal path, your sacred self, all of that good stuff. Abundance is the universe unfolding in your life as your life with your life. There's infinite examples of the abundance that is in this universe. Yes. And we only need to open our eyes to see that abundance and accept it for ourselves. Our life is right now abundant. Confidence. Oh my goodness. I've been working on a course called Awakening Your Confident Soul for some time now. I should get finished on that, because a confident soul, when you're confident, it's the difference between arrogance and confidence, or, confidence can seem like this humble truth. When you are walking your truth, you're authentic and you're real. Some people who can't resonate with that authenticness sees your confidence as arrogance or something. And just standing in your truth, confidence, being confident in who you are, will never steer you wrong.
Right.
And energetic, that's just how you show up. Bring that energy to life. You are the tuning fork of the divine.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to confidence for a second, because I think about confidence. If your sense of confidence leads you to belittle other people, that's when it becomes arrogance.
Yeah, that's not confidence.
That's not confidence.
That's not you aren't confident in yourself if you have to put somebody else down.
But I think we should all affirm our own confidence, rooted in the base identity of our beingness, which is divine. And, that is not being arrogant, although some people would look at it and say, oh my gosh, they call themselves God. How arrogant can that be? I'm like, no, I'm saying that we're all expressions of that. And that actually puts us all on equal footing. I say that the solution to isms for me, and phobias, and that the solution to me for my own experience of life is actually that very notion that there can be no separation from the divine. So if I can affirm my own divinity, and I see that in all creation, every single person that I encounter must be that. And that releases any othering from my experience of people.
Yeah.
And that's really how I'm choosing to live my life. That's and it's a choice. I get to choose the manner in which I live my life. Yeah. So color, Terry's mentioning color. Spring is on its way.
Spring is on its way.
Yes. I'm grateful that you're using the Canadian spelling. Makes me miss Canada. A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. The correct spelling. Yeah.
Right.
See, arrogance.
I see.
Yeah. I think arrogance is kind of in alignment with spiritual bypass, right? Because when you're truly confident, you can give other people the space to find themselves, or to take pause, or to, you know, become themselves in their highest expression. And I don't need to change anybody. I'm only responsible for myself. Like even in ministry right now, I'm a minister. I don't share that as something that is an introduction to who I am, because I'm really ministering to one. And I had a conversation with Reverend Cliff Rubin from CSL Edmonton this past week. And he's like, my job description is to work on myself and share what I learn, work on myself and share what I learn. And I love that, because that I have a heavy responsibility. I've felt for like my whole life that I had to do something massive in the world and impact the world and change and save the world, like that was possible. And just coming to that place of quiet confidence and recognizing that I'm only responsible for myself. I'm only ministering to one. And if other people resonate and find that useful, yay. If not, I'm doing the best that I'm doing the best that I can. And so as my confidence grew and my spiritual bypass deplenished, I'm making up words.
Hey, if I understand the meaning,
diminished or depleted. That's what that new word it means. Yeah.
Deplenished. I like that though.
Yeah. You know, that's the confidence came from being humble, not arrogant. Like like I remember like probably 7-8 years ago doing a spiritual mind treatment to find my humility, because I felt arrogant. I felt coming off that way. And I just wanted to be humble. I wanted to understand humility in a different way. And of course, every prayer is answered. So I learned some great things. And I went through some great fertilizer to teach me how to be humble as the divine. And it's been it's magnificent. I feel so humble when I get to be in front of others and they say loving things to me. And I'm like, my arrogant ego self is like, oh, don't say nice things. But my humble self says, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having the courage to say that. Thank you for being willing to share that experience with me. Thank you. That's the beauty of confidence for me. My confidence is a humble confidence.
Yeah. You know, there's a aspect of our culture, I think very much in North America, because I think this exists somewhat in the Canadian culture as well. And I feel like I can speak on it because I did live in Canada for a time. But part of and it's I think it really is rooted in kind of a European frame of mind that we have to leave our mark on the world, right? There's this cultural idea that, you know, to be worthy, we have to leave our mark on the world. What is the great thing we're going to do? You kind of alluded to it before, as though there's something that like we have to like accomplish.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, when I relieved myself of the idea that I had to leave my mark on the world, what I realized is that my being myself wholly is actually leaving a mark on the world, on the experience of this infinite life. And I don't need to be something. I just need to allow myself to be. Just be. It also made me think, you said something else, like, you know, if we're ministering to one, I get asked not infrequently, how do you like, because I do a Sunday talk every single week. I've been doing a Sunday talk every week for the better part of, you know, it'll be 13 years this year. And people often ask like, well, how do you know what to talk about? Like it's like 52 weeks a year for 13 years. That's a lot of talks.
It's a lot of talks.
And my answer is always the same. I say, I speak about whatever I need to know, whatever I need to remind myself of.
Uh-huh.
That becomes the basis for how I approach what is going to be offered that Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you're right. We are ministering to one, and we're letting people in to be in that experience. And they, as it resonates in an emotional and feeling way, people react and respond and are inspired by that.
Yeah.
I want to put this up though.
My thing for years has been the greatest gift you can give the world is knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. That knowing who you are is the greatest gift you can give humanity.
Yes. So true.
So easy. Just, love yourself, learn to love yourself, and you'll love others better.
And so it is.
Yeah.
Learning to love yourself. It is the greatest love of all. See, always a song.
Always a song. Always a song.
Please comment about the many job cuts and how those beings perhaps are not feeling abundant.
Can I just say I can't comment on how other people are feeling.
No, I can't comment on how other people are feeling.
Yeah.
I think it is a shame. I think it's a shame what's happening.
Yeah.
And there are people who are in the federal government in the US, there are people who are trying to curb these dictates that are coming from the executive branch. But I can't comment on somebody else's experience of it. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I always say is that abundance is a fundamental aspect of our beingness, whether people are aware of it or not. Our prosperity is not the result of our job. Yeah. That our prosperity is a result of our consciousness of prosperity. And as we live from the point of view of that consciousness, we have the experience of prosperity. And here's the thing, if I tie my consciousness of prosperity very narrowly to my job, then I am destined to be disappointed in my experience of prosperity. Because the minute my job disappoints me, or I've been talking the last couple of weeks about having the one job I was ever fired from. That was before New Thought, and it put me into a deep depression for a while until I realized, wait, I am not defined by my job.
Yeah.
My beingness, my abundant nature in this world is not defined by my job. Mm-hmm. There is one source of all prosperity. One source of all prosperity. It is the divine nature, and I am wholly a part of that.
Yes. Yeah. I am abundant in every breath because I cannot count or keep track of how many breaths I get to breathe.
Right.
There's abundance electrified in this universe.
And I can affirm that idea in my own mind, in my understanding of what other people are going through. But unless they are receptive to that idea, their experience is the result of their use of infinite consciousness. Mm-hmm. And so I know it in my mind that irrespective of the experience of people losing their jobs, that they are infinitely abundant. If they don't know that themselves, doesn't matter how much I know it, they will not experience it. Yeah. But I will always affirm that truth in my own mind for other people.
Yep. Yeah. I've been fired. I can't believe that, but yes, I have been. And it was almost a hostile takeover from in where I was working. So new owner, new management, bringing in family and friends and clearing us all out. And so that's just what it looked like. And I was in, oh my goodness, I had been going to the Center for Conscious Living for maybe a year or so. And the first thing I did was go to the center. Like, is someone there that can pray with me? Right. And I got in touch with my minister, and they were more than happy to spend some time with me in that experience. And I trust that all those people will find their support system and feel abundant in their resources and know a greater truth is on its way, because if they don't have community yet, then that's on us as New Thoughters and the New Thought movement to be marketing and advertising better than and sharing this teaching more widely so that the experience is easier to get through. Grace is always present for everyone.
Right. We have an image problem, though. Can I acknowledge that we have an image problem that sometimes can lead to detrimental experiences for people?
Mm-hmm.
And that is, we can come across as being so positive that if someone is going through an experience where they're challenged, they sometimes will actually pull themselves away from the community rather than knowing that the community is a place where they can receive compassionate support. But they'll pull themselves away because they feel ashamed about not being positive in the experience that they're having.
Yep. And that is communities filled with spiritual bypass, and we're not engaged in the work that is required to really truly understand who we are and what we're made of. Like that's
and that's why there are people who praise the work that I do on Sundays because I'm willing to talk about the warts. I'm willing to talk about the ways that I've been challenged in my life and how the application of the philosophy has enhanced and lifted me above the consciousness that those circumstances had any bearing on my beingness. They did, to the degree that I allowed them. And I will be totally honest, like if I decide to allow a circumstance to make me feel sad, I will feel sad. But the more I have reached out for compassionate support from my spiritual community, the more I have enhanced the quality of my experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is all to say, if you find yourself feeling challenged in your life experience, and that feeling makes you want to pull away from your spiritual community, fight the urge and find those within your spiritual community who are willing to compassionately support you through the experience.
Yeah. Lean in through the discomfort.
Yeah.
Lean in through the discomfort and you'll find your tribe.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll find your people. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Go through great fertilizer. Yeah.
Oh, I have been through some great fertilizer and I am grateful and appreciative of every morsel of it. Every morsel of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a few jobs taken from me. I'm grateful that you put that in.
Yeah, I like that.
I've had a few jobs taken from me, and sure, at first it was a shock. Then as I settled into the new, I saw how it was truly a gift, opening me up to new opportunities. I have a great tool that actually speaks to this in kind of any area of your life. If you feel obligation, and what I mean by that is, you may look at something and like, oh, I have to go through that. I have to do that. I have to, right? Which is the language of obligation. Where that obligation comes from, though, is a whole other conversation. What if you gracefully allowed yourself to reframe that? And when I say this, I'm saying not just giving it lip service, but deepening into the feeling tone of not I have to, but I get to. Start to apply the feeling tone of excitement to the experiences of your life. I get to. And find the blessing within that. And if you want to take it even further, not just I get to, but I am blessed to be able to have this experience. If we seek the blessing in the experience, then we will always find the magnificence that is serving us, and the nature of life's unfoldment is always in service to a constructive outflow. That's what I believe. I don't know about you.
And it takes as long as it takes.
Yeah.
Right. Because when that's a lot of it. I remember being 27 years old.
I do too, barely.
And barely. To preface this, 27 was the year I stopped drinking. So, but now I forgot why I was going to bring up the 27. Yeah.
I get to. I'm blessed too. They're blessed. Like
because now that I'm 21 years older than that, my memory is like, what was I just thinking? You walk in and you open the fridge and you're like, what was I here to get? So 2017. Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
It'll come back maybe.
Well, what is meant to be expressed is fully available to you here and now.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
I'm sure it was a great story back then.
Don't you love when you have a great story that you can't remember?
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was the year I gave up drinking. So the pace. Was it? We were talking about the pace.
Oh, it takes the time that it takes.
It takes the time that it takes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I'm still not there.
All right.
We'll figure it out.
Absolutely.
It does. It takes the time that it takes. And I have a big bold in one of my doodle journals that just says, I go at a pace that doesn't exist. Because I'm only right here in this moment. Right. Mm-hmm. I that's the pace for me right here in this moment. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we do not need to. Oh, I remember at 27 years old, I was like, I'm supposed to have kids. I'm supposed to be married. I'm supposed to have like this life, the picket fence, the job. I'm supposed to be something.
Yeah.
And beating myself up because I was about to get evicted. I was underemployed significantly. There was no food in my fridge. And so, of course, I think I'm supposed to be somewhere else. But I will tell you that year number 27, where, I just rolling pennies to buy loaves of bread and thinking, you know what, I don't need to eat bread. I'm going to buy cigarettes instead, because cigarettes were only like $6 back then. That's, I just in that and all of that experience. What's that?
I don't think I ever knew you were a smoker once upon a time.
Oh, yep. You don't need to eat if you're smoking.
I was a smoker once upon a time too. All right, continue.
And so all of that like was purposeful. Like it was the threading of me. It was the awakening of something. Mm-hmm. And I went through all of that fertilizer, and the divine was showing up all of the time for me. I didn't know it was the divine, but it's like, here's this book that can teach you how to live without anxiety. Here's this group over here that can help you find community. Here's this experience. And I wasn't looking for any of it. It's already on the path towards me because this is my path.
Yeah.
And it's all already there. So all of that fertilizer, the homelessness, the sleeping on couches and in people's basements, and the lack mentality, was all of that was on purpose so that I could know true prosperity. That is me, that I am how the divine prosperity shows up in form. I am how God loves other people. Everything about it. And so that fertilizer is absolute magnificence.
Yes.
And if we bypass it, we aren't learning shit because we aren't in it.
That's true.
That's how my soul has chosen to learn. I know joy now because I've experienced some crazy, unjoyful things. But at the same time, I am joyful now because of them. Mm-hmm. So I can't give up any piece of me. And I enjoy the journey. Now that I'm aware, it's a journey. And there is no destination outside of my awareness.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm just contemplating all of that in this moment.
It's a lot.
Yeah. But we've all been, I think, well, I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. I know that I've had my own experiences. What really came to mind for me was the moment that I decided to walk out on a toxic relationship that I was
in
back in 2000. Was it 2000 or 2001? Anyway, doesn't like the time frame doesn't matter. It was around that time, 25 years ago. And I remember it was like I walked out, but I didn't have the conviction at that point that this was the right and perfect path to walk out, and that there was that little part of me was like, okay, I'm going to walk out, I'm going to cool off, I'm going to then come back. And the best thing that I did, was go to a bookstore. And I went into a bookstore, and 25 years ago, I went into bookstores a lot because, while Amazon did exist, it was not as prevalent as it is now. And there were still a lot of bookstores around. So I would go into a bookstore, and I walked into the section on self-help. This is also before New Thought for me, right? I did not come into New Thought until a couple of years later. And I went into this section on self-help, and I picked up this book. I don't remember the title of the book, but I remember I opened it up, and on the introduction pages were the 10 signs of codependence. The 10 top signs of codependence. And I read through them. I'm like, yes, check, that's me. Yes, check, that's me. Yes, check. I went through all 10. I was like, oh my gosh. And it was in that moment, the awareness opened up within me that said, you cannot walk back into that relationship because you have given up your own sense of identity to someone else. And that is not a healthy place to be. You have forgotten the truth of your being.
Yeah.
And so, there's a whole long story about what happened after that, because I had to figure out, literally we were living together, and I was like, I can't go back to my home. What do I do? And so I was living in Los Angeles at the time. I called my dad, who was living in San Diego, and I said, I can't go back home. And he's like, well, just get in the car and drive down to San Diego. I'm like, okay. Anyway.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. And it continues on in terms of how the story plays out. But one of the best things, my dad actually gave me a book while I was down there. I didn't buy that book, by the way. I checkmarked those 10 signs of codependence. I was like, okay, that's all I need. Put it back on the shelf. I am aware. It was illuminated through me. But my dad gave me the book, The 4 Agreements, which was my first introduction to the 4 Agreements when I was down there, living with my dad for that week and a half, until my partner and I at the time, we had finally had some conversations about, we are ending this relationship and what was going to happen with the details of it. And, he ended up moving back to New York. We had met when I was living in New York. He moved back to New York. I moved back into the apartment, and the rest is history. But the 4 Agreements was very beneficial in my early approach to realizing that it's all about my mind.
Yeah.
And I cannot be a victim unless I move forward with the consciousness of being a victim. And if I have the consciousness of being a victim, then I will make everyone and everything in my life the perpetrator to my victimization. If that's my consciousness.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Sherry.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Your dad is awesome. My dad is awesome. So if you don't know the context, Sherry works here at Unity of Tucson as, her official title is my assistant, but she's so much more than an assistant. But my dad also works here basically as our technical director. On Sundays, he's basically in charge of all technical aspects of the service and how we get the service out, and our live stream and our sound and all of that. Anyway, my dad is awesome.
Yeah. I'll get to hug him too.
You will get to hug him. Yes. So.
I think there's some comments, but I'm not sure. Amand, I'm not sure. I love this name though, New World Order Princess. And so it was a while ago, so I'm not sure what they're commenting about. Sounds like envy for rich people.
Yeah. Well, I think the conversation we were talking about is, how we can make ourselves feel less than experience. Like when you were talking about, that experience of being homeless and, we can get our minds wrapped up in having envy for rich people.
Yeah.
But you know what? I find that my experience of prosperity and wealth is not tied to financial abundance.
Yeah. Abundance and prosperity for me, it does not mean money.
Right. It doesn't to me either. It's richness in spirit for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm grateful. I live a very comfortable life.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a result of my consciousness.
Yeah.
Right? Not because I have it's not because I'm forcing or coercing the financial world to work in my favor. I choose to live from a consciousness of abundance, and I live comfortably. So
if you live in principle, then your life is principled. And
what that does for me too is it is an invitation as well to not coerce other people into thinking the way I think. I would never do that, but to supporting those all around me who may not be there yet in mind and maybe struggling or being challenged. I will choose to try. Do you hear that?
I did for a second. Yeah.
There's a problem with a vacuum in another room, and it was very loud.
Yeah, it sounded like a fast car going through the room.
Yeah. Anyway, if I am comfortable and feeling prosperous, I work to share that comfort within myself with other people to, invite them into that same consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. And I live a confident and peaceful place, knowing I have been homeless and now am a homeowner. That's, you don't get that by not growing and changing and shifting your consciousness.
Right. There was a part of my life where I thought I'm always going to be a renter. I think back when I was an actor, I was like, the acting profession does not feel like it's going to be supportive of me ever owning a home. And see what we do. We do that so easily. We tie one idea to another idea, and both ideas are erroneous.
And make it a part of our identity.
Right.
I am a renter.
I am a renter. I am now owning myself as a renter.
Yeah.
But now I own property. Me and my husband, we own property. We have a townhouse that we own and we rent out. We're living in a condo that we own. I'm a homeowner.
Homeowner. Yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. I love my home. It's been almost a year. In 2 weeks, it's been a year. So it also means it's been in 2 weeks. It's been a year since I fell down the stairs in our brand new home.
Oh yeah.
and fractured and dislocated my coccyx. Which we're still working on in consciousness.
Yes. Well, my shoulder is healing. If you know anything about my shoulder, which you don't need to know because I know the truth about my shoulder. So
yeah. Yeah.
We have reached.
We made it. We did it. It was touch and go there touch and go there at the beginning, but we had a conversation.
It went so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we get it going, you look down, it's like, 45 minutes just went by.
One of the things I'm going to point out, I think on the April 11th, we should allow ourselves to go for a full 90 since we're going to have an interactive audience, I think.
Sure, yes.
So just be prepared for that if you are
90 minutes.
A little bit of time. But yeah, so just as a reminder, if there's anything you want us to rant about, there are our email addresses. You can email St. Steph at oneloveawakening.com. You can email me, Dr. JZ, at revjonathan@unitytucson.com. Send us what you would like us to talk about, and we can bring it to future rants.
Yes.
We will be back next week for the rant.
Yes, we will. Radically affirmative new thought.
Radical.
Oh, yeah.
Radically affirmative.
Hey, maybe we should get some music in that live rant.
Well, maybe. You know what? I think music might be appropriate.
Might be fun. Okay, everybody.
How we produce this.
Yeah. Love you all so very much. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah. Make your day magnificent. Bye.
'Cause you are.